G'day everyone, MasterAbbott here from CapsuleComputers.com. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running you through a gameplay for IronWorm from Tons Ltd. Now this game is available on the Apple iOS and also on the Apple iPhone, and Apple iPad. The game is very fun, it's addictive, and it's not too complicated at all to play. And it's a good little casual platformer type of a game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through gameplay, also any options, and basically that's it. So we'll run through right now. You are the worm. The worm is actually going to be taking on the evil insects, and with his great tail he'll be able to whack them out. So let me run through and I'll show you where I'm up to. So basically there are a total of 3 episodes. And I'm totally gone through, completed the first one, gone through the second one, and there's also the third one. So what I'll do is, like I said, I'm not going to go through and give out any spoilers on the game, so therefore that's why I'm not going to run through any of the last levels. I will run through a couple, or maybe 1 or 2 in the second, and also a couple in the first, just to give you a good rundown and understanding of how the gameplay works. Alrighty, so we'll start off with the first one. Okay, so the battle begins where you are taking on this evil insect there. Now the worm is basically got 2 parts of his, 2 parts of the body. He's got his mouth, as you can see there, and he's got his tail. Alright, now basically the way it works is constant, like kind of physically, it works with physics and the way a worm would basically move around to a certain point. Now the way the worm attacks is by using its tail, where the tail has a kind of a ball power attacking sort of a mechanism. As you can see right now, I just used that and I basically whacked it onto a insect. So as you can see, the physics actually work pretty well, the way the worm's tail moves and wrangles around. Now as you can see, you move it around to however you want. You can use it kind of as a bungee to a certain point where it attacks anywhere you want, and then what happens is you can smack it onto certain obstacles or platforms and it will stick there. And then what happens is you've got the mouth. Now his mouth is it's open to attack. It doesn't attack, it doesn't do anything, so you've got to pretty much keep him from not getting hit. So in the top right hand corner, as you can see, in the top left hand corner you can see there, that's his health meter. He's got 3 health bars, and then once he does get damaged, it gets all those 3 health bars gone. The level, you failed the level. So what basically you got to try and do is try and complete the level without using any of the or getting hit, and you'll get like a flawless completion. So which we're going to do that right now. Let's attack that. So basically as soon as you touch the exit, it completes. As you can see at the top right, you got a flawless complete, and that means you didn't get hit. And every time you complete a level, it tells you how many enemies you've killed. So far I have killed a fair amount. So it tells you there, and it tells you a pile of corpses as big as an iron bat. So as you can see right now, that's it works with a bit of heavy metal music in the back. As you can see, the IronWorm is pretty tough. And the music is very, very good. So if you're into that sort of heavy metal music, the music is actually cool, and you can see that the worm is actually a pretty cool dude. Alright, so jumping back out to the main menu, as you can see. Alright, so I've completed all those levels there, and I've got all the flawless victories and all of them. So I'll jump into another one. Let's jump into level 3, and you'll see how this one works. Pretty much works the same way, but there's another little element in the game, which is the ice. Now the ice you cannot touch with the mouth. When the worm tries to touch the ice, he can't grip it. He can break it, but he can't grip it. And as you can see there, that's how it works. All right, so let's continue on with this. You got a whole lot of different enemies on the screen, different types. As you can see down the track, you'll get a whole lot of more different enemies. And as you can see right now, you can whack them with your tail, which you need to do. And as you can see, this is a very simple mechanism in this first couple of levels. And there you go. Just going to jump over to the exit, and it completely kills everybody. Once that's done, you move on. Very simple to start off with, but then it gets very complicated moving down the track. So let's jump out to the main menu, back to the menu again. Let's try level 5, and as you can see, the levels do get a bit more complicated. So now we're going to be battling a little bit higher. You're going to get to the top. Now, as you can see, there's an arrow showing you where everything is. And if you want, you can move around before the level starts to see what and where you got to go to plan your way to get there. So as you can see, you got to get to the exit, and you got a whole lot of these enemies that are going to get in your way. So you got to plan and think to yourself, how am I going to get to that point? And there's a lot of basically the enemies use different obstacles to stop you from getting to where you need to go. So there are a few. Alrighty, so then now we can start. Once we start and we touch the touch the worm's tail, the enemies start. And they do come to attack. So that's where you've got to make sure that you don't get hurt. And which basically I did, as you can see, I lost a little health bar, and I've lost a little bit of energy. So you've got to make sure that the insects do not touch your tail or any part of your body, which is does get pretty complicated and hard down the track. Alright, so here you can see we're going to be taking out a few of these guys. Be very careful how you take these guys on, because the physics is easy, but the physics are easy to do, but you got to make sure that you got to give yourself a bit of leeway to move the tail around, because sometimes the tail does get stuck in different positions, and you got to make sure that you bring him out and able to hit. As you can see right now, I just smack that building out of the way. So as you can see there, the tail works in a very easy to understand and not too complicated way, but you got to make sure, as you can see, you got to give them a bit of space to move it around and not get confused and not get stuck with anything. As you can see right now, if you want to smack it around and use it to touch the ground. Now, watch out, see how I'm doing right now. It's not going to work. So you got to kind of move it around to a certain point, and then smack it down in the right way. So you can bring it up and then bring it down like that, and then bring it across, so it makes it easy to move. And that completes that level there. Alrighty, so jumping back out, what we'll do is we'll see what the other levels are like. I'll show you some of the harder levels. Now this one here, I got a flawless on this one, but it's not very easy to do. And as you can see, some of the levels get really long and complicated. Alright, so let's move on. Now you can see there's a few enemies that throw projectiles at you. Now the only way to actually stop the projectiles is by using your tail to stop them from actually doing that. So you got to make sure you time your moves without getting hit. As you can see, you can move him across and then use the tail to stop and smack them out of the way. Very simple, very easy to play. But it does get harder if you do want to make sure you get all those flawless victories without getting hit. And there are enemies that there are also projectiles that get thrown at you from standard enemies. Well, not really standard enemies. They're just like little projectiles that stick in like spores, if you want to call them. There's a spore there in the top right hand corner. You can see once it gets close, it actually kind of explodes. So you got to try to protect yourself from doing that. And whack out if you can. Try and move them closer to you. Once they come in close, you just kind of move your tail up and you kind of push it up as soon as possible like that. Whoop! Just got hit. There you go. Hit him there. And that's what I basically wanted to show you as well. What happens when you get smacked? When you do get smacked, you have the option to actually try the level on a little bit easier difficulty, or just go back and try the level completely all over again. So that is pretty much how IronWorm works. I'm not going to give you out too many more hints or spoilers, because there are only a total of 3 episodes, and as you can see there are a total of 10 levels per episode. And the battle rages on between the insects and the worms. So that is basically IronWorm in a nutshell. Now, apart from that, IronWorm is not compatible with the Game Center. So unfortunately, unless 10 Ton actually release an upgrade down the track, it won't be available with any of the Game Center achievements. So unfortunately, the only thing we've got is just options to help credit profiles, which you need to create when you first start. More games as well, and you can do Facebook and Twitter. Apart from that, that's pretty much it. So the Apple, as I said, IronWorm is available on the Apple iTunes store. Pick it up right now. It's only 99 cents and it's guaranteed a really cool game to play as a casual title. So thank you very much for watching. MasterAbbott signing out from CapsuleComputers.com.